Dave Chappelle's The Bird Revelation is a 2017 Netflix comedy special starring, of course, Dave Chappelle himself. It is an intimate but unremarkable evening filled with unfounded innuendo and ambiguous accusations that is bound to baffle, bemuse, and offend any truly perspicacious viewer. The special is quite devoid of comedic elements, seeming to me Dave's attempt to satiate what he supposed to be his fans' long-standing questions about why he gave away his television show and moved to Africa 12 years ago. What Dave doesn't realize is that no one except the most paranoid conspiracy theorist cares after all this time. So please, for your gratification and amusement, I present the Popcorn Lobotomy review of The Bird Revelation. In the modern age, comedy specials are somewhat of a cultural phenomenon, and Dave Chappelle's return after a 12-year absence from the spotlight has proven to be an almost irresistible novelty that has attracted the masses like a well-preserved 1995 Club Close Dombonnet attracts a particularly parched dilettante connoisseur after a long expedition in the Australian outback. No? Okay. Anyhow, I feel compelled to dissect this particular example of oratorical enlightenment, as it contains portions of outlandish and indecorous derision directed at the Hollywood entertainment industry and the philanthropic benefactors of the arts who fund it. Here's how Dave begins.
Well, it's the last show. Here we are, Los Angeles, the world capital of rape and dick breath.
If it wasn't bad enough that the media felt compelled to report on such sordid, unconfirmed details about people's private lives, Dave's return to comedy is rather bland, unremarkable diatribe directed at the so-called sick entertainment industry that provided him with opportunity, promulgation, and the adoration of a mass audience. If there's one thing that gets my goat, so to speak, it's people from subordinate socioeconomic groups who feel compelled to bite the hand that feeds. It's a self-destructive tendency which I'm afraid I'll simply never be able to fathom. Is it unreasonable to expect, when altruistic individuals such as myself reach down and raise up a working-class miscreant who shows a glimmer of raw, unrefined potential, that said ameliorated individual might return the consideration with intrinsic approbation and allegiance? Well, apparently the answer is no if you happen to be an unappreciative ingrate such as Dave Chappelle. Apparently if you're Dave Chappelle, you're free to postulate vaguely aberrant insinuations in such a way that it forms an almost insurmountable recrimination against which one can never defend. It's a damn shame Chappelle decided to end his brief foray back into the limelight by peddling conspiracy theories and nonsense. Listen to this one section where he casually mentions COINTELPRO, as if it's a historical fact endorsed by the trustworthy mainstream establishment.
You know what this shit is like? It's like COINTELPRO. You know what that is? It's a program that the FBI had under J. Edgar Hoover. In this program, one of the many things they did was they would track the sexual habits of anyone they considered an enemy of the state. It was a lit button. That's why they got all these fucking sex tapes with Martin Luther King fucking bitches. But lucky for us, he actually had a dream.
To casually insert such spurious paranoia into a supposed comedy act, as established historical fact, is just going to give his already deluded audience the confirmation and reinforcement they crave. Most egregious of all, Dave attempts to rewrite history by deliberately neglecting to mention his inability to handle the pressure of a TV show and his unconstrained abuse of recreational pharmaceuticals.
I remember that shit. You don't remember that when I quit my show? Remember, when on the way out the door, I said, something's wrong in Hollywood. I believe they said I smoked crack. That's what I remember. Remember they called me crazy.
Instead, he reframes his fall from grace in Hollywood as a heroic refusal to allow Hollywood to corrupt him, and relates a self-serving, albeit completely unbelievable tale of incorruptibility and self-denial.
I was right once. Remember that? Remember when I had like this really popular show and I quit? I remember I walked away from $50 million. A lot harder than walking away from Louis' freckled dick.
The most infuriating botheration with Chappelle's slanderous allusions are that they are entirely unspecific and equivocal. He suggests some very unscrupulous and subversive misdeeds by parties unstated, but simultaneously says nothing substantial against which one could mount a suitable counter-argument.
Maybe there's something else going on. Maybe these rapes aren't even the worst of it. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? You can go ahead and go to the bathroom, Brooklyn. You don't need to hear this shit.
Well, I apologize, Mr. Chappelle. Could you please elaborate on what you believe is worse than rape? I would contend that one would have to have quite the devious imagination to envision such a sordid presupposition. Of course, he never elaborates, or at least not in any specific way.
No, I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. You want to know what happened to me? No.
Of course, this is what Chappelle's fans have come to hear, and he milks it for everything that it's worth. But by the end of the act, the question remains frustratingly unanswered. Instead, Chappelle resorts to vague parables and allegories when attempting to answer the question that such utterances would inevitably trigger in his inerudite, impressionable fans.
I'll tell you what happened, but I can't say it directly. There's a book to me that encapsulates my entire experience. He has an original copy of this book written by a black American who was a pimp in the 40s. Iceberg Slim breaks down some of the coldest capitalist concepts I've ever heard in my life. He describes in detail how these men break women so that they will give them the money that they make with their own bodies. And in the story, Iceberg Slim's bottom bitch is at the end of her mileage. If she was good for 500 fucks, she was at 498. So what he did was, he called her to a diner. He said, look, bitch, you and I gotta part ways. I got one last trick for you. It's a big money trick. He said, okay, there's a guy in that hotel across the street. He's waiting for you in room number 7. I want you to go over there and I want you to fuck him. But before you do, I need you to put some of this stuff in his drink. And she runs up to the motel steps and she disappears in room number 7 and she's gone for a real long time. Real long time. So long, in fact, that Iceberg got a little worried. But then, suddenly, she came back. I did everything you said, but that man don't look right. Something wrong, Daddy. So what do you mean something's wrong, bitch? Did you put that stuff in his drink? She said, I did everything you said, Daddy. So the two of them go across the street to the motel, and they go into room number 7, and on the bed, laying lifelessly, is the white man that she was supposed to fuck. This motherfucker is dead. Oh, God, Daddy, oh, God. He says, relax, bitch. Listen, we getting the fuck out of here. They both got in the car and they drove off. She was a blubbering mess. Oh, you did all this shit. He said, I told you, bitch, we didn't do anything. You killed a motherfucker and I cleaned him up. And now we got us a secret, okay? That's the game. That's how the whole shit works, ladies. And the cold shit about it is that the dead guy on the bed wasn't even dead at all. This motherfucker was just a friend of Iceberg's acting like he's asleep. The doctor wasn't a doctor, it was a motherfucking butcher that happened to have a white coat. That's a cold game. That's the motherfucking capitalist manifesto. And that's why I went to South Africa.
Well, if you can make head or high tail out of that inane story, good luck to you, dear boy. I'm certainly left scratching my head. Putting all of that aside, Chappelle appears to have forgotten to bring the comedy to this comedy special. Nothing he says is witty or funny, and it appears designed exclusively to placate the scores of misguided conspiracy theorists for whom he has become a heroic figure in the ensuing years following his fall from stardom. And in the end, it all amounts to very little. Like Corey Feldman's spurious accusations in the media, without specificity and names, Chappelle ends up saying nothing at all, and presumably frustrates his fans even more. In fact, Dave Chappelle only says one honest thing of note during his entire 50-minute performance.
It's okay, my career ended many years ago.
Indeed, Dave Chappelle, and mark my words, you'll find yourself well rehearsed for what happens next. Now, little one, enough tomfoolery, okay? There's no point in fighting it. This is the part where you agree to do, well, anything I say.
Never. I'll never work for you.
Why do they always have to do it the hard way? Okay, dear boy, I have something to show you. This video was shot today, and I do mean shot,
Flicko.
by an associate of mine with a very specific skill set. I have all sorts of associates, you see. The funny thing about being wealthy is, nobody is beyond reach. Are you understanding me, little one?
Ah, don't you hurt him, you fucking son of a bitch. Flicko, no. All right, I'll do anything you want. I'll do the show. Just don't hurt Flicko, okay?
Certainly, I don't want to hurt anybody. You may not see it now, little one, but you've made a very, very wise choice. If you'd refused, well, there's no telling what kinds of unpleasant things I might have been forced to do.